Okay, the recording has started. Good evening, everyone. I hope you guys had a pleasant weekend. Welcome to day 2 of week 2. And today we're going to be diving into legislative drafting, and we're going to focus on motions. And I'm going to take this session for today. So to start off, I'll give a brief of the agenda that we're going to have the conversation around. I won't just jump down to what the motion is and start drafting it. I want to lay the foundation to start the conversation by giving a little introduction into the legislative arm of government, which is a really critical part of our government, one of the arms. And I would speak a little bit about the 10th Assembly and their legislative agenda with a focus on the House of Representatives. And after that, we will talk about what motions are, why do we need motions, and we'll identify some of the types of motions that legislatures use. And we'll look at some sample motions, and then we will try to draft the motion today. And then I would share some resources with you. Resources will span on where you can get information about the legislature and opportunities that you can explore in order to build your capacity in this space. Yeah, so we all know that we have the executive arm. The 3 arms of government is the executive, judiciary, and the legislature. So the legislature is responsible for making our laws, right? In Nigeria, we have the 2-chamber system where we have the Senate and the House of Representatives. Our House of Reps is made out of 109 members, while our House of Representatives is made out of 360 members. We're going to talk about some of the primary functions of the legislature, and most times when we think about what they do, we think about, oh, they make laws, or they do constituency projects. I know constituency projects is one of the most famous things that our legislatures are known for, but they have other functions that they perform. They have 3 main functions that we always have conversation around, is that they make laws. So the legislature is in charge of making laws for every one of us, for the good of the economy, the good of Nigerians. They make laws. So both at the state, national, and at the local government level. They also represent the interest of the people, because the National Assembly is more of a representation-based governance, where you have people representing their constituency or representing their senatorial district in the form of the Senate, but it's still a form of representation. So what they are trying to do is they are the voices of their people. They ensure that things that bother their people are brought to the national forum, but that doesn't mean that they also do not have the national interest. They do that. And oversight functions. So we have checks and balances, so that in order for one arm not to be above the other, we try to ensure that it's a checks and balance approach, where one government is checking the other government. Sorry, let me just see this one. I need to admit. Okay. Yeah. So the one with checks and balance system, and they perform an oversight functions. And that's why you see sometimes you'll see the National Assembly has called a ministry. Let's just say they'll call a Ministry of Niger Delta and say, you need to account for the money that was given to you. If the money is not properly used, we need to know how you've used it. You need to show it to us, because they are trying to check and ensure that government agencies perform the functions that they are meant to perform, and also that they are also using the money that they give them in the budget to use. So sometimes you see when they come for budget defense, that is also part of their oversight function. Sometimes they go visiting certain departments, and they do that in the committee system. But it's also a check and balance system where they're trying to check and ensure that no arm is breaching their boundaries. So we'll talk about the Senate. The Senate is usually called the red chambers because of their chambers is green, and they have 109 senators, and they represent 3 senatorial district in each state. So that shows you that there's equal representation. The membership in the chambers is by equal representation. So we have the Senate president and the deputy Senate president, and they have 8 principal officers in the Senate. You have the Senate leader, the deputy Senate leader, majority leader, his deputy, chief whip, his deputy, and minority leader and his deputy as well. So you have these leadership positions in the Senate, but they are all seen as equals, but they also have to have people who would lead, right? For the House of Reps, they're called the Green Chambers too, because their chambers is green, and we have about 360 members. Each member is representing their constituency, right? A federal constituency. And you have the speaker, you have the deputy speaker, and you have 8 other principal officers, right? It's very interesting. So this is the 10th Assembly. Presently, we have the 10th Assembly. You see with the green, that's the House of Representatives, and the red, you have the Senate. Can someone tell me, like, when they look at it, something that is really, really, that they see that is interesting? Can somebody tell me something that they see that is interesting? I mean, you can write it in the chat box.
I think the background colors.
The background color is good, so you're able to see the representation of the green and the red. Does somebody else want to tell me something? You can look very well. If there's a representation.
There's only one woman.
There's only one woman. Yeah, thank you for that. There's only one woman. So you can see the representation of the colors, which distinguish. With the green here, you have the House of Representatives. With the red, you have the House of the Senate. But then, I mean, it's really important if you just look at the pictures and then you just see only one woman in the leadership. And that's why it's really important for us to, get more women to get into politics and engage in the National Assembly as well. So this numbers is bothering them. Because when they are because these are our lawmakers, when they are making laws for women, how do we push our voices? How do women bring a narrative or a perspective that is different from the perspective of men? Because we understand what issues women are going through. So I'll talk about the legislative agenda. So what the legislative agenda is the plan of the House. So the House of Representatives, the 10th House of Representatives, has its legislative agenda, and its legislative agenda is focused on the People's House. This one is called the People's House, and it's supposed to run from 2023 to 2027. And it's the People's House. I mean, it has a focus of strengthening good governance, ensuring the rule of law and human rights, anti-corruption, improving National Assembly delivery processes, executive legislative engagement. The reason why they sit down to write their legislative priorities is because in leadership, visioning and planning is very, very important. Before you get into a job, before you start something, it's always good to plan. What are your plans for this position? So as legislators, it was also as legislators, it was also good and important for them to state what they would ensure. And when we look through this, I would show you some of the things that are coming up now. They also said they're going to improve national security, legal reform, and that legal reform, they're going to do constitutional reform, local government reform, decongesting the executive list, social and economic rights, judiciary and legal systems reform, and they're going to do electoral reforms. They also are trying to focus on economic growth and development, social sector reform and development, so education. So I want you to be to listen because once we go to some of the motions, you'll start seeing some of the things that they had stated where they are trying to push their interest. Healthcare, infrastructure, pension reform, inclusive and an open parliament. So they are trying to also push women representation and participation, youth development. For us, that's really, really That's really important for us as youth and for us as women. Then open parliament and citizen engagement. So they're trying to do a lot of more engagement. And if you saw the Speaker of the House of Reps had an International Women's Day event. So that is him also the House trying to lead with their priorities and drive engagement. Then there's also inclusion. They're also trying to do influencing, directing Nigerians' foreign policy, climate change, and environmental sustainability, which is very, very good, right? So let's move down to motion paper and other paper. I would prefer that I share a sample. So I'm going to share a sample. So just give me a minute. Let me stop presenting. National Assembly. Okay, I think I would share my whole screen. So just give me a moment. So it's easier for me to walk from one screen to another. Let me share my entire screen. Share entire screen. That's not working. Yes. So can you see my screen now? Okay, yes, it's sharing. Okay. So I'm going to go to the PLAC website. If you want to know anything about the legislature, the PLAC website is really, really good because they have all the information. So they have an order paper, and we're going to go to the order paper of the House of Reps. And we're going to look for the latest one. This is the one on Wednesday. And I would, okay, let me just put black again. Yeah, and notice paper. Okay, so this is an order paper, and I'm trying to open a notice paper. Okay. So we can just know what the difference is. Just opening. Because I want it to be more of a practical thing. Okay. So I hope you can see my screen. Let me increase that. Does that work? Okay, yes. Oops. Sorry. Let me get the door. Okay, somebody is at my door. Okay, sorry for that little interruption. So let me just speak on the notice paper. So this is the notice paper for the House of Representatives. And if you see here, the notice paper goes from Monday to Friday, as opposed to the other paper. This is the other paper, right? So we're trying to do the distinguishing between the two, and then we'll come back. So a notice paper is the agenda for the week. It lists the bills and motion to be debated. So it has a lot of information. So at the beginning of the week, each member of the House of Representatives or the Senate gets a notice paper. So that notice paper is for the whole week. So everything that they're going to discuss for the week, they have it on that paper, so that they can also plan their day, plan their week, to know what, if they have committee meetings, it will be there if they're attending committee meetings. Once we go through the practical part of it, you will see some examples. While the other paper is the agenda for that particular day. So if today is 16th, the other paper for 16th will have all the activities, all the bills, all the motions that will be deliberated for today. So let's just go and see the example. I'll start with the notice paper. You can see that the notice paper here says, this is the one for last week. You have Monday, 11th March, 2024 to Friday. So you see what I said, it has the whole week. It starts with committee meeting. So you can see the committee meeting that is there. On Tuesday, they're going to discuss certain bills. You can see the bills that are there, constitutional bills. They're trying to do constitutional reforms. So you see the different bills that they are working on. You see the motions that they're going to move that day. So I want you to see the difference. In this place, they just put the bills. In the motion, they don't write the whole story of the motion. They just write what the motion is supposed to do, the name of the honorable that is going to move it. So they have a list of all the motions that are going to be pushed. Sometimes they also consider reports. So sometimes after the bill process has gone to the committee stage, it's going to come back, or certain committees that have reports to review, they will state it there. So these are all the reports they will review for the week. You see the breakdown. It's Monday. This is Monday. Yeah. This is Monday. This is Tuesday. Everything that's going to happen on Tuesday. This is Wednesday. You have all the bills they will take on Tuesday, all the motions they will take on Tuesday. If there's going to be any report, you can see it. On Thursday, it shows the bills they are going to take. It shows all the motions. So you can see that everything is contained in the notice paper. You have a summary of their activities on Friday. Now let's go to the other paper. The other paper is that particular day. So here we see Wednesday, 13th March 2024. You see that they start with the prayers. So you can see that it's different from the other one. This one is telling you how the day's proceeding is going to go. They do the prayers, they have the National Assembly, approval of votes and proceedings, oaths, messages from the President of the Federal Republic, message from the Senate if they do have. So you see, they have their petitions, announcements, matters of urgent importance. So these are the bills that they're going to present, or that they presented that day actually on Wednesday. You can see all the bills. So if you want to follow up, if you have any bill that interests you, you want to follow it up, this is the best way to see what they do. You can look for the notice paper, or you can look for the other paper. So you can see the bills and the motions. So you see the motions in the other one. Let me go back. You can see that they just stated the name with the member, but this is different. You have the title of the motion, you have the name, you have the content. You see, it's totally different. So it shows you everything that they're going to deliberate for that day, all the motions and committee meetings. So if you're supposed to have committee meetings, you see the date, you see the time, you see the venue. If there's a public hearing here, there was a public hearing. You see that there's a public hearing, the time and the building. You can see everything. So that's the difference between the two. So now we'll dive into what a motion is, right? So at both houses, the House of Reps and the House of Representatives, most times when the member wants to bring out an issue, you first come through a motion. You want to bring out an issue, you want to deliberate on an issue, you want them to listen to a particular issue or a particular cause, you bring it through a motion to the House, right? And most of the time, the people that draft the motions are the people who are working with the member, but the member too can engage in drafting and reviewing the review process. But those are what the legislative aids help in doing. So the reason why I really wanted to teach this course is so that you have knowledge when you're engaging your legislator and you're trying to say, oh, we want a change in this area in our community, and you just add to him that I can draft a motion for that, or you've already drafted a motion, this is the sample and this is what you want him to deliberate better. So a motion is a proposal made by a member or a group of members. So sometimes it's one person that will make it. Sometimes you see two members will come in. Sometimes you can even see 5, 6, depending on how many members that you can get to support you on your bill. You people can collaborate together and move a motion on the House, because every motion has to be seconded. And sometimes in order for your motion to be pushed or to be listened to, if you're trying to pass a bill or something, you need to make friends. So just like I said, building connections and leveraging on your network, as House of Reps members and senators, they also have to be friendly, to have good communicative relationships with their other members, because sometimes when you have a motion, you need people to support and second your motion. So yeah, a motion is a proposal made by a member or a group of members into a chambers to do something, order something to be done, or it can be used to express an opinion with regard to something that matters. A motion may not be entertained if the subject matter is before a court. So if your case is before a court, you know, you don't want to have that conversation, you don't want to bring it to the house. So I wanted to add here that emotion should be phrased in a way that they have to take action, or it expresses an opinion. So if you have an opinion about something, you want to put it to the house, you know, but most of the times it's about action. You bring emotion when you want the house to take an action on a matter. And there are types of motions, right? Substantive motions, those are main motions, subsidiary motions, and privileged motions. Substantive motions are proposals or questions related to certain subject matters brought before the House by a member for it to be considered. So this is where you bring your matter or an issue you want the House to deliberate, and then you bring it through a main motion. That's a type of motion, a main motion. So a subsidiary motion is a motion that seeks to address, modify, or dispose of a substantive motion. So sometimes when you stand up and you're moving your motion in court, I'm so sorry, I said court. I'm a lawyer, sometimes I can't help it. When you're moving your motion at the floor of the House, somebody can stand up and say, point of order. And when they say that, that means they want to bring a substantive motion. So sometimes they may tell you something that would add to your motion, or sometimes they'll take a point of order to contribute to your motion, or to speak about something that you may not have, you know, seen or included in your motion. Sometimes it's also for them to tell you, okay, we need you to step down your motion for a bit, and then you can continue later. Maybe there's an important issue to discuss in the House. So we also have privilege motions. These are motions that are so important that they need immediate consideration. And then sometimes you have to suspend the business of the House to be able to address those kind of issues. So I'll give a few examples of a subsidiary motion. So it's just like I said, if you have a previous questions or you need to close the debate, if you want to extend the debate or limit the debate, you can bring up a subsidiary, or you want to even postpone that motion, the deliberation of that motion to a definite time, it can do that. If you say, oh, it's important that this motion is brought, but sorry, let me add somebody. Okay. Yeah. Okay, where was I? So if you want to postpone or you want to refer the motion to another committee or an amendment, then you also have incidental motions. These are motions in order, it can be brought at any time. So maybe like a point of order, like I said, point of information, or you want to request for the withdrawal of the motion. So sometimes the person that brought the motion forward, because of the deliberations that are going on, or because of the corrections that the other members are giving to the person's motion, the person can decide to say, you know what, I withdraw my motion at this time so that I can go and rework it, and then I'll bring it at a later time to the House. So that is also allowed. And sometimes it's not all the time that a motion will be heard. So sometimes a motion would not be heard and it can be dismissed, but sometimes a resolution would be given. So we're going to, this is the meat of it basically. We're going to be trying to look at some samples. And if you go to the PLAC website, you can also see some samples. I will share a folder where you can also go and see that. But like I said, it's also good for you to do the feeling yourself, to go on the PLAC website or the National Assembly website and just look for the motions and see what's happening. So if one day they are saying, oh, you're trying to look for a particular bill, you can always go to the PLAC website or the National Assembly website. So let's take a few of the motions, and I want you to also be conversant with the language, and I will try to pick that out for you. So this is the title of the motion: arbitrary increase in the price of cement by manufacturers. So I picked all these motions from, I think, this week's, the motions they had this week. So it's really, you would see that Most times we say, oh, we don't know what our legislatures are doing, are they working? Most times we're not really following what they're doing. We're not informed. But once you stay informed, you see that they actually do the work and try to project the minds of people. So the reason why I'm stating that is that presently the price of cement has actually gone up. So these are like I said, two members in the house can come together. So you have Honorable Gaza Jonathan coming together with Honorable Ademori. They're coming together to push this bill. The title of the motion is the arbitrary increase in the price of cement by manufacturers of cement in Nigeria. So you would see that after their names comes the House. So the House, they're informing the House because they're the House of Representatives, but they don't write the full thing. They start with the House and they say notes. So they're telling the House to note that the manufacturers of cement have increased the price of their products by up to 50%, leading to a sharp hikes in building blocks and the cost of building, and consequently the price of rent in the country. So you see that they are pushing out the interest of people, talking about prices increasing, and you can see that they stated statistics. So if you're drafting a motion, you have to look for statistics and you have to ensure that it's accurate. They say the price of their production have gone up 50%. So you have to ensure that you're putting statistics to be able to pinch them to know that this is something that is disturbing. And consequently, the price of rent in the country, so the price of rent will go up. Also note that the raw materials for the manufacture of cement, which include lime, silver, aluminum, iron, oxide, and what is this one? I don't know. Are all sourced locally. So we source them locally and not affected by exchange rate volatility. Aware, so you go to another one, aware that all the factors of production and elements of the cement production flow chart are also sourced locally and have not changed significantly year on year. Concerned, so at the beginning, they always put certain words, notes, also notes, aware, concerned. After you put concerned, you go to also concerned. The cement cabal is unconsciously inflicting hardship on Nigerians as the prices of rent and associated services have increased. So, cognizant that the increase in the increase in the direct affront and sabotage of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration efforts to bring comfort to the populace and should be resolved immediately. So they have stated that this issue should be resolved immediately. But after stating all these facts, you do the notes, you put the concern, you have to always ensure that you end with a resolution. So that okay, I can't see at the end of this, please. Okay, let me hide this. Okay, oh God, I've hidden it. I don't escape it. So resolve, you have to end it by resolve. And in that resolve, you have to send it to a committee or you have to attach a ministry that will take an action. So resolves to mandate the committees of solid mineral development, commerce, industry, special duties. You see that they have added and mandated that the committees. Look at the word that whenever they're talking to their committees, that's referring to themselves, the committee on solid minerals. Why does it think it's moving? Solid minerals, development, commerce, industry, and special duties to investigate the arbitrary increase in the price of cement by manufacturers of the cement in the country and report back. So you must always give a mandate to something. So sometimes it will be a committee that would handle it in the National Assembly, whichever house it is. And you must also state what they will do after. So after they investigate, what are they doing? They are coming back after 4 weeks for further legislative action. So you've seen a sample. You see how the beginning is, the title, you have to find the title, you have to write the name of the member, you have to speak with their language, notes, also notes. If you use notes, you say also notes. If you put aware, you can also put always also aware. If you put consent, you also put also consent. And you have to have your resolution where you're charging it to somebody. So we'll look at another one. Rehabilitation and equipping of Unity schools across, I should have worn my glasses. Unity school across the country, the house. So you see that there's a title, and the title is very brief. The rehabilitation and equipping of Unity schools across the country. You can see the name of the honorable clearly, and you can see it's addressed to the house. You can see this one started with notes that the deployable states of Unity schools in the country, despite the financial resources allocated for their maintenance over the years, recalls that the establishment of schools is to promote unity, academic performance, and quality teaching regardless of ethnic affiliation, while maintaining a conducive learning environment. Concerned that the relevant departments of the Federal Ministry of Education, the Universal Basic Education, and the management of the Unity schools are not working in synergy to achieve the vision of the founding fathers of the Federal Unity Coordinate Systems, that thus leaving the schools in a dilapidated state. Worried that schools are currently faced with the problems of poor funding, recruitment of poor quality teachers, inadequate and obsolete facilities, etc. You see at the end, there is a resolves to urge. So when you're speaking to a federal ministry, you use the word urge. You see that when they are speaking, let me move the tab. When they are speaking to a ministry, when they are speaking to an agency of government, they use the word urge. Urge the Federal Ministry of Education to address the poor states of Unity schools in the country by rehabilitating and equipping all Unity schools with modern state-of-the-art. Also urge, after saying the first urge, that the Federal Ministry of Education to develop an action plan to improve the physical and educational infrastructure in Unity schools across the country. And mandate. You see that they use mandate for their committees, and they use the word urge for ministries. So they are mandating that the Committee on Basic Education and Services. So if you go to the National Assembly website, there's a list of all the committees. Let me go to their website. There's a list of all the committee members, and there's also, what did they call it? The names. So if you go under, I can't remember, legislators. Okay, if you go to the National Assembly website, if you go under legislators, you would see committees. So we're in House committees. So you will see all the committees that they have, and you see their chairmans and their vice chairman. But what is important is the committees. So once you have an issue, you go to look for which committee best suits that. So yeah, that's one sample. This is another sample. Okay, this is the one for, the title is Need to Incorporate Security Education as a Core Subject in Nigerian's Primary and Secondary School Curriculum. You see the name of the honorable, you see the state, the house, you see notes, also notes, aware, worried. They use words like that, but you always see the resolution. There's always something to resolve to. Here they are urging the Federal Ministry of Education to ensure that security education is incorporated as a core subject in the primary and secondary school curriculum. But in the body of it, once you read it, okay, let me try and read this one. Note that security education is critical for fostering knowledge and preparedness, enabling individuals to understand potential threats and to take appropriate measures to protect themselves and their assets. Also note that security education prepares students for contemporary challenges in security, ranging from economic, political, social, and environmental threats. So you also have to state what is happening, state the issue, and add facts. You see that they say aware of the United Nations Funds report that states that states since 2018, over 30 schools have been attacked, resulting to about 2,295 teachers' deaths. That's a large number, and over 1,000 kids' adoptions. So you're seeing the statistics is coming again to say this is what is happening. Worried that the recurring attacks and threats against national education institutions, teachers, and pupils are causing a negative impact on educational quality, teacher turnover, and the perpetuation of culture of impunity. So you're able to see what they are worried about. And then again, you can also see that, aware that due to the escalating insecurity in the country, it has become imperative for children to learn defense mechanisms, master first aid principles, and emergency handling skills. So they're trying to say that that's why we need security education in school, because of the security crisis that is going on. Oh, how did we get here? So we have already gotten to the end. That was fast. So yeah, that was a few samples I wanted to show. I think I didn't show one from the Senate. Let me go to the PLAC website. I needed to show one from the Senate. Senate other paper. Let's see the other paper. So I'll show one from the Senate, and we can see the difference between this. So this is the other. I hope my screen is showing. No, that's not showing. This is the other paper from the Senate. And I wanted to show their own bills, how they write it. So they write the title, they write the senator's name, who is the sponsor of the motion. And you see here, they write the Senate. So for the House of Reps, you see they write the House. Here they write the Senate. And then they go into notes that, and they state, okay, somebody wants to join me. All right. So you can see that the Senate own, one thing I want to also state with the Senate own is that they use a different format. For the House of Assembly, they use resolves. Here they use accordingly resolves to, and then they put down all the things that they want to do. So like I was stating earlier, that you see committee meetings, yeah, here they are. So I want to quickly continue so that we can write a sample on an issue that is disturbing us. But one thing you should also know, that there are templates always there. If you ever need to draft a motion, you can always go and get the template and just follow how they do and use the language that is done. But it's also important for you to know how to draft it. Try it yourself, try drafting it, and follow the samples. It's really very easy. Yeah, so let me finish the presentation and then we go work on the sample. So we had, I mean, in previous conversations, we had said, okay, let's have a SWOT analysis, and everybody was expected to have their own personal SWOT analysis. So the opportunities that, you know, are in this space for you to develop in the legislative, I wrote a few of them. You have the PLAC. So PLAC does an annual legislative internship, and I wrote the details here. And I put the sample. So the reason I have stated these opportunities for you is because in writing your SWOT analysis and in planning what you want to do and opportunities, you can go through some of these opportunities, see which ones you fit in, and notice when they come out. So do your research. When do they open their applications? So you write it down in your journal or in your planning book that this year I want to be part of the PLAC legislative mentorship. But if you research them early, you're able to see whether you reach the requirements, if there's something you need to do to be able to reach the requirements, so that the next time the application cycle opens, you already know what to do. You already have all your details planned, and then you make your application. Then there's the Legislative Mentorship Initiative, which I've been a part of the LMI. LMI usually comes out ending of the year. I think PLAC comes out in August, either August, September, the applications come out. And I think the legislative mentorship is around that time. But since we're part of a community, whenever I see the applications for this, I would definitely share it on the group. The Electoral College has a free training session that they have. They have a 26 model, it's in 9 weeks. They usually do it on weekends. I've done it, it's really amazing. You form a political party, you learn how to write manifestos, how to campaign, how to lobby. It's a whole interesting bargain. One of the main goals of it is to expose you to politics, know what to expect, just having a taste of what elections will be. Then there's a School of Politics, Policy, and Governance. And then there's the Imagine Political Leaders Fellowship. I think this Imagine Political Leaders Fellowship just closed this application. But I wanted to take the one of PLAC and really, really dissect the requirements. So PLAC has a yearly internship, which is very, very amazing. I haven't done it myself, but I have a few friends who have taken part of it. So you have to have a degree first. You have to have also completed your NYSC. You have to be good in English writing and speaking. And you also have to be good with computer skills. But one thing that they do is that you have to be aged between 21 and 35, which is great. And they're in Abuja. So if you're in Abuja, that would be a good one for you. The internship duration is September to December. So that means the application comes out in August or July, thereabout. I'm not sure, but whenever it comes out. So it's not, they give you a stipend for transportation and lunch. So that helps you with your expenses. But they don't bear your cost if you're residing in Abuja. So what's the requirement? You visit the PLAC website, you complete the application form. There's an application form. Then you upload your CV. And you have a statement of purpose, right? The importance of your participation in the internship. It's something that you can also start looking about. Why do I want to join this internship? Because I want to learn about the legislature, because I want to learn how to move motions, how to write motions, know the importance of why you have the legislature. I think that one thing that is good with their own is that they join you to a committee. Excuse me. So they join you to a committee, and you're able to work in the committee, and it's really, really interesting. So these are opportunities that will help you get to know about the legislature and will help you learn about politics, which is very, very important. So I dropped certain resources. The National Assembly website is a good place to start. I put some of the links, you can check it out. PLAC website is also a good one. And there's another organization, excuse me, the other paper. It's also a good resource for you to go to. And you can also follow the other organizations. Electoral College, you can follow the LMI page. We also have the LMI alumni page, which I'm also a part of. Okay, yeah. So let's go to questions. Do we have any questions since I've been speaking? And if not, then we can go to the drafting. I know today was really technical because we're trying to see how motions are. I know a few people joined late. So what we have been discussing is about motions. I tried to speak about the two houses that I'll just do a recap so that you can catch up. Just give me a moment. So I tried to do a recap to say, we have two houses of assembly, two chambers. We have the Senate and the House of Reps. The Senate is made of 109 members. The House of Reps is made up of 306 members. And I tried to state what the function of three major functions. They make laws, they represent people, that's their constituents, and they perform government oversight. This is just me talking about them and their principal members. We talked about the legislative agenda of the House of Reps, the 10th House of Reps. Basically, the legislative agenda is just like their goal, what they plan to do for the duration of their 4 years as legislators. Then we talked about notice paper and order paper. I will just show a sample and I'll just tell you what it is. So the order paper is the breakdown of everything that the House would do on that day. So an example of this order paper is for Wednesday for the House of Representatives. So on Wednesday, all the things that the House will do, from the motion bills they will pass to the motions that will be presented before the House, to the committees that would sit, all the information will be contained in the order paper. But in the notice paper, the notice paper is from Monday to Friday, and it will show all the activities that the House would do throughout the week, so that it's sent to members, so that members will have it and they'll be able to know what they're going to do. They'll be able to plan their schedules to see if they're going to attend sittings or they're going to be in committee meetings. So that's the difference between the two. And then we moved on to talk about what a motion is. A motion is just simply a proposal that a member or group of members in the House would put forward to the House to either express an opinion or to say something needs to be done, right? And then we talked about the types of motions, and then we looked at some sample motions. So does anybody have any questions at the moment before we go to drafting one? At least we should be able to draft one today. Does anybody have any questions? Do you need any clarity on any issue? Anything? Okay. If you think of one, you can always drop it at the. But I want us to write a motion today. Okay. Motion. So what is the pressing issue that is disturbing every Nigerian that you think that as our legislators, they need to bring to the fore? Does anyone, I mean, we can name a few issues and then we'll pick which one we should work on. So does anybody? Price of goods, good. Regulation of price of food, good. Is there any other one? Okay, let me still share my screen. I think I'll share the entire screen. So we have the price of food. Okay. Is there? Oh, thank you. I'm just seeing your comments, Mercy, where you said there's only one woman there. Thank you. Not enough women. Thank you. That was something that was really disturbing. So price of food, price of petrol, good. The fuel issue. Okay. So we have two issues. The fuel issue, high cost of transportation. Yeah, that's really, really disturbing us. So we have food. So issues. We have food. Yeah. Healthcare. Okay, that's a good one. Healthcare, school fees. Good. So we have a few options. So which one are we going to write on? Healthcare. I swear, healthcare. Power is crazy. I know, right? Healthcare, general hospitals. Okay. All right. So we have written a lot of issues. So most of the time, when a motion wants to be moved, it's about a critical, so you move like on issues that are disturbing. So what house members or senators would like to pick on is what is disturbing their people. So it's many times they would go to meet the people to say, what is disturbing you at their constituency offices. Sometimes you can just see what is disturbing people and then push the motion. Sometimes the motion can even be about, oh, it's International Women's Day. We need to, convene this. The House needs to, increase women participation in governance, in politics, and that. So let's see which one. Let us try one with healthcare, right? So we have to form a title. In drafting a motion, the first thing that comes is your title, right? So we have poor healthcare, especially in government, in general hospitals, which is government-owned hospitals. So they don't put title, but I'll just put it so that we can follow what we're doing, right? Please, let me let me make it so that we can see it. So our motion title. So what I like doing, first I always write my first draft. You can come back and review it. You can also first write your draft, then you go back and say, are we in order with what the House used to do? So always feel free to go back and check. It's not, let me open one that will be going back to check. Menace of circulation of fake consumable goods in Nigeria. So we'll go back to create our own title. Urgent need to address the poor health care delay in general. So that's our title. You see, it's short. It's short. It captures all that we need to say. Urgent need to address the poor healthcare delivery in government hospitals. Another way we can put it. So always don't stick to one. You can always try to, change it up a bit. You can say, let me not use urgent. What's the other word they used? Let me see. Menace, collapse. Okay, you can use collapse. What's the other word there is in here? Rehabilitation. Okay. We can use collapse of general hospitals in Nigeria and an urgent need to revamp health care delivery in Nigeria. Does somebody want to suggest another topic that we can use? So these are the titles. We have come up with 2. Healthcare. So you see, we already have our title. So you can pick the first one or you can pick the second one. Sorry, I have to go to the comment section if there's any comment. Okay, no comments yet. So you see, we have started, we have gotten our title. So you can just pick one, right? So let's just leave that. I mean, you can work it out. I just wanted to show you. So the next thing that comes in is the member's name. So honorable. Who's our honorable today? Who spoke about health? Yeah, let's see. Okay. Chiamaka. Honorable Chiamaka. Yep. So Honorable Chiamaka is the one bringing this bill, this motion. So after that, after you have your title, you have the honorable's name, you will now say, some people would write their constituency here, where they're, Chiamaka, what state are you from? But you know your constituency?
Imo, I don't know my consistency.
Aha, so this is your assignment to go and look for your constituency, right? So some people, you write the constituency there, and then you write the house. So we're writing this for the House of Reps, so that's why we'll use the House. Remember that if you're writing it for the Senate, how did Senate write down? Maybe I have closed the page. I think it's the Senate. So if you're writing for the House of Reps, remember you put the House. If you're writing for the Senate, you put the Senate. So after there, that's where you start your issue. So we're talking about poor health care. Notes. So they always put notes. What you should do is, you can, this is where you say you research. So you're going to, because you can't come to just tell them, oh, we have poor health care. You know, they are not delivering. You go and you search, right? Google is your friend. So you can just put collapse of general hospital in Nigeria. Let's go to Google and do that. So always search, because you want to be using informed news. See, we even have doctors' massive resignation. You see, here you have shortage of bed capacity and overcrowding. Okay. Inadequate staff, right? Okay, see this one. Oh, see a new one. Oh, see a good one. So you see how we're getting a lot of information here. Let me accept. You see, this is a general hospitals. Patients grumble over dilapidated structure and manpower shortage. So you can see what's happening, and then you can read the report, right? You can see what is there, and that is where you get your statistics to improve your motion. But I saw one that says 131-year Lagos hospital struggled with, oh, that's a good one. And this is recent, because this is January 2014. So you can see the hospital, general hospital, in a bad state. This is saying, despite Lagos having the highest internal generated revenue in the country, they have done an investigation. The structures are old and dilapidated, right? And then you can see, you can read. I'm trying to see the name of the hospital. Information on the internet, right? In the control of the hospital. The hospital was okay. So let's just write. Note that the general hospitals in Nigeria are meant to provide universal basic. What is universal basic health care? Note that general hospitals in Nigeria are meant to provide, or we can change it like, note that all Nigerians are have the right to access to quality health care and deserve to have let me go back, and deserve to have access to good doctors and well equipped hospital facilities. Grammar should not come here. Okay. Well equipped. Okay. Yeah, how can I dismiss this thing so it stops? Okay. Healthcare, why do I keep separating it? Okay, that's the last part. So note that all Nigerians have the right, we're starting to put the background that all Nigerians have the right to access quality healthcare and deserve to have access to good doctors and well-equipped facilities. So we can now put also note that the general hospitals in Nigeria are meant to provide basic health care to all Nigerians, right? But unfortunately, the general hospitals are in, what is our topic again? Okay, are not somebody needs to enter. Okay. I'm sorry if I'm taking time, but I'm just taking time to show you how it is, how you're supposed to write it. Unfortunately, the general hospitals are not citizens with the best health care. So they lack the facilities and doctors, nurses, and other critical medical practitioners. So you see how we're doing it. So we started by addressing our title, stating the name of our member, addressing which house it is that is making the rules. Then we're trying to show them what is happening. Notes, also notes, right? So I was going to go and capture this, that an example. So you're trying to show them an example. This hospital was built So I'm trying to say that this hospital was built in, the hospital still conducts its day-to-day services in old amenities. Okay, I'm trying to get the name of the hospital. The internet the hospital was established in military, blah blah blah. I'm looking for the name. Okay, let's just copy this part. And then we can go here to say, let me look for the word we can use. So we can use aware that many hospitals in Nigeria do not have the adequate facilities to provide the best health care. So we're trying to give an example. For example, the One Dadada Hospital in Lagos located at, let's get the name of the hospital. Where is located? Aha. Down on the popular Broad Street, blah, blah, blah. Still conducts his day-to-day activities in old amenities. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to give an example of a hospital that is bad, right? What you can also do is to go and also look for more research on hospitals that are bad and just basically to add more information into that. But we'll also just go down and try to say what is our concern, right? So we're concerned that the absence of proper health facilities can lead to, I think I saw one that talked about the challenges of having bad health care. Okay. I mean, you talk about no confidence in the health care delivery of the country. So more confidence. So more people would leave and not want to go to government hospitals because they don't have confidence in that. It can even lead to cases of death. People can die as a result of that because the poor hospitals, they can't give facilities to a lot of people. So we're concerned, and that's an extreme case. And in an extreme case of death, right? So you just state some of the challenges or your concerns with why government hospitals should not be. So let's try to put the resolution. If it's a motion paper for the House of Reps, you put resolves to, and you put a comma. So what are we going to resolve to? So we can put one. It should be a committee on health. So you remember that I said that when it's a committee, it will mandate, because it's within themselves, they will normally mandate the Committee of Health. This talks, so you can come and get aha. So this is statistics now. According to the minister, the primary healthcare facilities would have handled 70% healthcare service delivery, while only 10% of the burden will be left to teaching hospitals. Unfortunately, the governor referred that reverse is the case. So he's saying that the hospitals are bad. I mean, you can read more and get statistics, right? Yeah, but to take us so much time. So let's go to mandate the Committee on Health. I don't know if there's Committee on Healthcare. Mandate the Committee on Health to review all government hospitals. So all government-owned hospitals should be reviewed by mandate the Committee of Health to review all government-owned hospitals to ensure that they are in good state, or push that they are repaired. So something like that, just basically what you want them to do. So if we're urging, so when you come to the Ministry of Health, we would urge the Ministry of Health, urge the Ministry of Health to review all government-owned hospitals and ensure that the facilities are up to date. They will come on to this one. And you can push it to different committees. I don't know, there's the one for health. So let's just go to the House of Reps page. If you don't know the committees that work there, you can just go to the House of Reps page, and then you see the type of committees that are there. Legislators Committee, House of Reps. I think there should be one on health. Health will be page. Is banking, or still in banking? Okay, this is the whole list. Thank God. So you can see the whole list and you can see who is there. So there is on environment. So it's health institutions. So you see, it's also good that we looked. So you see that there's a committee on health institutions and healthcare services. So that's why it's good that we looked. Because it's actually health institutions that would work on the infrastructure. So it's not committee of health, it's committee of health institutions. So you see, it's good we looked at. And we can also say the two should look at it. So health services and health institutions can also look at it as well. So if you see that there are two committees, you can also include both of them. So yeah, that's just basically how to write one. And you can always go back to let me see, let me close this. You can always go back to look at how they are, the languages that they use to write. But I mean, it's just basically the same thing that you would do. But you also need to do a lot of research to get information to add to it. Just because of time, I was trying to rush a bit, but you go and just look at the statistics on hospitals in Nigeria, and then you'll be able to get the information. So yeah, does anybody have any questions? I hope that it was clear on how to draft the motion. I mean, you can drop a comment in the chat box if you need any clarification.
Hi.
Hi.
Yes. So the format for drafting a motion, I understand that, but the question I have is outside drafting a motion. I don't know if I should still go ahead.
Sure.
So after writing a motion, under resolution, you are urging and you are mandating different committees and different agencies. So I'm like asking, does the person who pull up the motion or who pushes the motion follow up on the motion, like to ensure those agencies do it?
So thank you very much.
Just
yeah. Cool. So there's something I actually forgot in the motion to add, is after every motion, you would see that even when you send them to do it, they are supposed to report back to the House. So there's a report mechanisms to ensure that they report. So thank you for pointing that out, because I forgot that myself. So when you tell the committee to do something, you also have to put timeline. So you want them to report back to the House within 4 weeks. Most of the times, when they do that, that's when you tell them to report back. That's basically when, okay. So you see here, it states that after the health institutions, or has even one that there is even health institutions they used in this, mandate the Committee on Health Institutions to investigate the collapse of the drug revolving fund scheme, verify facts, and report back. So there's a report back mechanism, which I have added here in our motion. So most of the time, when that 4 weeks elapses, then the committee would usually report back. And, they have like administrative staff, and just the way that they put it in the motion, in the other paper, they'll put that this committee is reporting to the House what they found. So it might not necessarily be like they've solved the issue, but like they will give a report in 4 weeks of what they've done. So have they reached out to the Ministry of Health, invited them, put that this state is happening. What do you need? How can we resolve it? Most times they will have a meeting with the Ministry of Health. They'll say, okay, let's see what hospitals, what funds do you need? Because when they are able to tell them, okay, these are the hospitals and these are the numbers of hospitals that are, dilapidated, it needs funding, it's easier for the members to be aware, so that in the next budgeting cycle, or when they are doing the what do we call it now? Constituency projects. Then sometimes members will also push for some of their own government hospitals in their locations to speak up to ensure that it's addressed. But then in the budget, it's easier for the Minister of Health to be able to say, we need this money for the renovations of government hospitals. And then they'll be able to approve because they've seen that there's an urgent need to repair the hospitals. So after that, there's a follow-up process to follow up on the reports from the House, to see the proceedings, what is happening. So yeah, there's a follow-up mechanism to ensure that everything is addressed. So did I answer it?
Yes, you did. What about the agencies? They report back to the House too, right?
So they work, most times they work with the committee. So the committees, and then they have the clerks of the House. So they have the clerk of the House, they have the clerk of, so the clerk does a lot of follow work, and they have administrative staff that do the following and the documentations. So it's easier for them to know that, okay, they've said this, so they would communicate, because normally the ministries are not in the House when these deliberations are going on. So they will send a letter to the ministry to say, okay, this is the motion that was put before the House, this is the decision, this committee is going to work on it. Most times, the committees will involve the ministries that have been put there, because they're the ones who are running the, like the Ministry of Health is the one that is really running, in Abuja, FCDA, they have a department for health that also works with hospitals. So they would all come together and then report. Then they'll have committee meetings, and then they'll have resolved their issue, and then the committee will report back to the House. So yeah. So is that cool? But we're going to have, in the coming weeks, we're going to have someone who is a legislative aide. So when she comes, maybe we can get her to also give a breakdown, but about this from her own point of view. But yeah, that's how the breakdown goes. So I hope that we've been able to at least learn, and I think that we should all try to attempt drafting one. Trust me, it's not that hard. Just follow the templates, ensure that you put a lot of information in it. It's always good to have a lot of statistics, because you're trying to pinpoint and put why it's important. Because if you move the motion, if the member, and if you have a goal to become a House of Reps member or at your state legislature, it's also good that you have this knowledge on how to draft the motion, so that you'll be able to draft it yourself when you see an issue. So I'll give an instance. I know that there's the sad kidnapping of girls, of students in Kaduna State. So most House of Reps members, you always have to watch the news. You always have to know what's going on in your country, because when there are urgent issues like that, you have to immediately move a motion in the court, in the House, so that they can be able to push for issues. So if you want to be a legislative aide, this is a good tool to have. That means you want to work with somebody who is a member of the House, either at the state, local government level, or the national level at the House of National Assembly. It's good to learn how to draft a motion. So I hope this was really, really, I know it's all legal terms, but if you practice and just look at the templates, which I'm going to put in a document and share the link, I will still share some samples in the group so that you can also follow up. But if you do have any questions, please know that you can also reach out to me and get some information. And then I'll also love to see your drafts as well. So I think that that's an assignment for everyone, to just draft a motion, and you can share it on the group so that your colleagues too can also see that. I mean, it's also encourage people to test their hand at drafting one. So do we have any more questions? Okay. I see that we do not have any questions. So I want to say thank you very much to everyone who joined this session. I hope that we all want to be legislative aides after this, and senior legislative aides as well. I mean, that's the skill you can have. You can write to your member, you can write a motion on something that you feel is important and send it to your member and say, this is something, an issue that I feel that our people are facing. You know, that would be a conversation starter to the person, and just say, oh, I would love to work with you, even if it's on a volunteer basis, even if it's on a part-time basis, even if it's just to write all your motions in the house. It's really, really good for us as women to put ourselves out there. We've been having all this training, and some of the things that they have been telling us to be bold, take that bold step. So there are a few female legislators in the House. If you know even if it's your state House of Reps member, if you can walk up to them and just speak to them, tell them that you want to contribute your own quota and do it on a volunteer basis, that would open a door for you as a woman. Share your expertise with them. So today we've come to the end of our session. Tomorrow we'll be having Nafisa Atiku, and she's going to be coming by 4 o'clock. So let's just get excited about that. She's going to speak about branding, and I'm sure the session is going to be great. So I'll put the details on the WhatsApp group, and I would share all the information that we discussed today. I also share the presentation, but I would also put it on a folder and share the folder. But for those who can access the folder, or I would also share it on the group. So thank you everybody for joining. Thank you for engaging. I hope you have learned, and I'm waiting for you all to be legislative aides. So I'll come for my own share of money. I'm just kidding them. But I hope that you're able to learn. So if there's nothing else, good night, ladies. I would see you all tomorrow.
Good night. Thank you so much.
Good night. Thank you. Thank you so much.